Fox Soul challengers Quan LX and Big Angry Adams, ready to go blow by blow on those hot topics. Face Off on Fox Soul starts right now.
Mark, what's the pin?
For Renee Nicole Good, who is murdered. We have a vice president who's lying about what's happening. We have we're in the middle of a war with Venezuela that we illegally invaded. He's telling the world that international law doesn't matter to him. The only thing that matters to him is his own morality. But the guy is a convicted felon or convicted rapist. He's a pedophile. He's the worst human being. If we're relying on this guy's morality for the most powerful country in the world, then we're all in a lot of trouble. So this is for her. This is for the people in the United States who are terrorized and scared today. I know I'm one of them. I love this country. And what I'm seeing here happening is not America. It's not.
Mark, why do you feel that this platform is still useful to spread a message like this?
Listen, I want to pretend like this. I want to be here to celebrate, and I am here to celebrate, and I'm proud to have a Golden Globe nomination. But also, this is not normal anymore. And so I don't know how I could be quiet. And I'm feeling a little sick, so it's hard to BS right now. So
in this round, here's Charles Big Angry Adams.
But it's interesting what Mark Ruffalo picked and chose to talk about. No mention of the deaths in Iran this weekend at the hands of the evil Ayatollah Khomeini. It's interesting that he referred to, and let me say, big fan of Mark Ruffalo. I think he's a very charming guy. I think he usually just plays himself on screen, but he does an exceptional job. And I just have a hard time swallowing when very wealthy people lean in on things like he's a big fan of socialism and other things that seems insincere, right? He did not talk about that stuff on the red carpet of the Golden Globes. He talked about what he called it characterized an illegal invasion of Venezuela. The $25 million bounty on Maduro existed throughout the Biden administration. This military action is similar to ones that were ordered by the Commander-in-Chief Barack Obama, by the Commander-in-Chief George W. Bush, Commander-in-Chief Bill Clinton, Herbert Walker Bush, Ronald Reagan. It's nothing new, right? There was absolutely very squarely within the frame of, I can do this as the president. I don't have to ask permission. If it did actually turn into the war, which Mark Ruffalo characterized it as, then most certainly they would need Congress's approval. But it's not. It's very clearly not. Renee Good. I mean, he had a bunch of topics. Renee Good. I mean, I look at that shooting from a policing perspective, right? And I have had someone try to drive away with me in front of them, and I stepped out of the way, got in my car, and chased them and ended up arresting them. I had, as a policeman also, someone intentionally hit me with a car while I was standing in front of it. It is very hard to cause serious injury when you're very close because they take off. And I, of course, just rolled over the hood onto the ground. It's kind of sideways. I did go to the hospital. But again, the person was chased, and this guy actually had wrecked into a house. Not his house, just people sleeping in their home. And he was arrested and charged with crimes. I don't think it's very rare that I see a police shooting with a vehicle where it is necessary. I don't see that shooting as moral, right? I think the kill shot came through the driver's side door window. I do think that it's probably legal, right? In the context of it is a vehicle's considered a deadly weapon. She had repeatedly ignored directives. This mythos that's being pushed by a number of celebrities and people in the media, this fabulism that she was just a mom taking her children. I mean, just a mom who, was just out on her day with stuffed animals in her glove box. Now, if you look at the criminal history of her and her partner, the partner recently charged with, I think, burning the children with cigarettes, that it's pretty horrifying. and they seem to have put their activism ahead of their roles as parents, and they were absolutely there to obstruct ICE. I have seen the list of offenders that ICE was targeting in that raid in Minnesota: horrible sex criminals, pedophiles, rapists, the people that were subject to deportation orders that we want ICE going and picking up and removing from this country. That's not being talked about nearly enough. But no, they absolutely were there in an organized, targeted group to try to obstruct ICE, and they were ignoring directives. And you can't do that. And there are dangers that are inherent to that. But on the flip side, right? She said, hey, I'm not mad at y'all. She didn't seem angry and crazed. And she was very clearly trying to turn her wheel and to drive away. Now people say, oh, well, the ICE officer that shot her had been dragged by a car recently. I don't care, right? You do your job the proper way. And that was an unnecessary shooting. But it's not being, and I think Ruffalo was right. I think that J.D. Vance and other people on the right are mischaracterizing it. But Mark Ruffalo and people on the left are mischaracterizing it. They're trying to pretend she was just this woman just there, and it's all nonsense. We've ratcheted it all up. And then he gets into Trump. Trump's not a convicted rapist.
You've
right?
been going for 5 minutes.
I'll go till I'm done, and then I'll let you go.
Till you're done.
Right? Yeah. And
that might be 19 minutes.
Okay, we got a whole show here, Quanell.
It ain't that long.
Okay, so then we got these standard talking points from the left. Trump's not a convicted rapist, right? He was sued civilly by E. Jean Carroll. Very suspect, seemed very orchestrated, but there was a civil judgment. That's not a conviction for rape, right? He's not. There's no evidence that he's a pedophile. And this is my last point, and I'm going to throw it to you. I have a real problem as someone that investigated and arrested pedophiles when we bandy the term wildly to assassinate the character of political opponents. He is a serial philanderer. He's most certainly a scummy guy. I've never been a supporter of his, unlike you. And there are qualms, there are big questions about his morality, but the suggestion that he's a pedophile, the statement that he's a pedophile is just a flat lie, and it's disgusting. Right? We shouldn't call anyone a pedophile that hasn't been adjudicated or there's not a amount of evidence that they're an actual pedophile. So Ruffalo, he made a good point about good. He told a bunch of lies. That's what Hollywood does, and that's what America's doing nowadays. And maybe we should just start talking about the truth.
I want to say that Mr. Mark Ruffalo, a very talented actor who's played in some great movies. The last movie I watched just a few weeks ago was a movie called Task that he was in about a father who was hijacking drug houses.
That's a TV show, not a movie.
And well, it still was a motion picture. It was a series. And it was a very good series. But I don't disagree with some of the things that he said. When he said that we're supporting, or we have a president that some of us are supporting that invaded Venezuela. You were right, there was a $25 million bounty and warrant on his head. But the idea was to go and execute the arrest warrant, Mr. Trump, and remove him, and then leave that democratically elected system in place to choose its leader. The Trump administration already agreed that the woman who was opposing and the opposing party against Maduro was really the duly elected president of Venezuela. Well, then guess what? Let her come on back. Let her go to power since she was elected by the people. But that's not what he did. The same day he spoke about the arrest of Maduro, he spoke more about oil in Venezuela than anything else. The American people did not want President Trump to go in the name of an arrest warrant, arrest a criminal, but then hijack a nation's number one natural resource, their oil. Their oil does not belong to the American government. And to go and take their oil is criminal, like a mob boss. Secondly, this man, we found out, met with all executives the day before he went into Venezuela. Then come to find out, he got on the phone, had a conference call with all executives the day after they captured Maduro. And he just entertained them last week at the White House, then came out that meeting and said, well, I might not let Exxon in because I didn't like Exxon's attitude. I didn't like what they had to say about the oil and the situation in Venezuela because it costs so much to refine the oil. Man, look, this was about oil. This was not about arresting a big-time dope dealer on the world stage. Here's the hypocrisy. This man just released one of Central America's biggest drug kingpins and exonerated him, pardoned him, let him go. And now he's entertaining this week, supposedly, the president of Colombia at the White House. When 90% of all the cocaine that comes into America is manufactured, produced in Colombia, sent to Mexico, and brought into America, 90% of the cocaine. You mean to tell me you want to go arrest one petty drug lord in Venezuela when Venezuela wasn't even in the top 10 for fentanyl coming into America or cocaine? He was sending his drugs to Europe. But now you're going to entertain another drug lord in the Colombian president and then release one who was a Central American drug lord just several weeks ago? This is madness. This is hypocrisy. Then when he pointed out what's happening in Minnesota, Charles.
As a senator, Don Huffines exposed a multi-million-dollar corruption scandal that sent 6 people to prison. As comptroller, Don Huffines will expose government corruption and jail those who steal our tax dollars. Vote Don Huffines.
This is how to tell if your olive oil is fake.
You've been using olive oil wrong your whole life, and it's costing your health.
My grandkids have been telling me I'm aging in reverse. This is my secret.
Number 3, canola oil. If you can find organic canola oil, then it's actually a very good oil. The problem with canola oil is most canola oil in the United States is genetically modified. Number 2, coconut oil. Coconut oil has a very high smoke point. So yes, you can absolutely use it. Unfortunately, coconut oil has only about 1/10 of the polyphenols of olive oil. Crisco was actually developed as a candle wax replacement. Crisco is an abbreviation for crystallized cottonseed oil. Cottonseed was never used on food before. In fact, it was an industrial solvent, among other things. During World War II, Procter & Gamble realized that you could put food coloring and tell people it was just like butter. They gave generous grants to the American Heart Association for promoting Crisco as a heart-healthy alternative to butter and lard. So, believe it or not, the best oil for cooking is olive oil. But not all olive oils are created equal. Have some olive oil before your bed, and your sleeping partner will love you for it.
Somebody told me olive oil could be used as shaving cream.
Shaving cream? Yep. Swap out that spray can and slather on some olive oil instead. It could actually be really useful for moisturizing your skin and helping it look bright and fresh.
Someone commented, does olive oil actually help prevent snoring?
Snoring? Fact. It turns out that olive oil lubricates your respiratory passages so that vibration doesn't happen.
Can it help with my teeth?
Whiter looking teeth? Yes. Extra virgin olive oil can help contribute to the look of whiter teeth because it can bind to plaque and tartar and then help remove debris. But before you pull that bottle from the kitchen, there are 3 important things about store-bought olive oil that you should know.
So the other day I saw this video by this famous heart surgeon saying how incredible olive oil is for you. So I just turned 40 and I made a promise to my wife to be healthier. So I said, a spoonful of olive oil a day, this I can do. It's been a month since I started and I literally feel no different. I still have the joint discomfort, the brain fog, and the dad bod. What gives? Honestly, it pisses me off. Now, I'm not normally the one to do this, but I actually sent out an email to that doctor. I said, hey, doc, quick question. I started taking a spoonful of olive oil per your recommendation, and I feel no different at all. Please advise. Now, this doctor is huge, so I wasn't actually expecting a response. But get this, a few days later, an email from him hits my inbox. It was just 9 words. Did you watch until the end of the video? And okay, I admit it, I didn't, but it was like 20 minutes long. I watched the entire thing, did what the doctor said, and it's been about 6 weeks now. I was wrong. My wife actually told me the other day that I'm glowing. I like it because it's so easy. You add something to your diet instead of cutting stuff out. Anyone can do it and feel the results.
By 2 p.m., I'm useless. Phone rings, ignore it. Dog keeps walking, forget it. My body's basically yelling, lie down or die. And then I catch this doctor claiming olive oil can fix that. I've heard dumber things, but whatever. If 1 spoon a day keeps me vertical, I'll try it. So I choke it down every morning for a month. Still dragging, still foggy, still praying for coffee to work a miracle. I was fed up. I wrote the guy. Been sucking down your oil, still dead inside. Didn't think I'd hear back. But bam, he replies, did you watch until the end of the video? Of course not. I'm not made of patience. But I went back, sat through it, and finally got what I'd missed. 6 weeks in, different story. Brains humming, legs aren't lead. I'm not nodding off mid-sentence. And it wasn't some energy drink crash and burn either. Just one small change that actually stuck.
According to this article, restaurants such as McDonald's give their leftover greasy oil to create fuel for delivery trucks. That belongs in an engine, not in our bodies. So how exactly did these harmful oils become a go-to for the food, restaurant, and health industry? One word: money. Rewind to World War I. During this time, seed oil was in hot demand because it was used to fuel ships and aircraft. They were also used as machine lubricants in factories and even as a paint coating for weaponry. But after the war, demand for seed oils plummeted. Coincidentally, that's when big companies and clever marketers came up with a big idea. Why not call seed oils a health?
You're a former police officer, man, and you know in training, when you're encountering a problematic suspect, especially in a traffic stop, you never stand in front of the vehicle.
That's absolutely not true.
They always tell you, you don't put yourself in danger by standing in front of the vehicle.
That's not
you
true.
stand to the side so you can get out of the way if the suspect takes off.
That's not true.
In this case, there was nothing that woman was doing. There was nothing she was saying. There was no behavior that she was exhibiting that justified him standing in front of the vehicle, period. She told one ICE agent to go around. That's what they went right around, telling the other ones, I'm not mad at you having a conversation with him. But this dude, when she goes to maneuver her car and get out of the way, and remember, Charles, she didn't escalate the confrontation at first. She's sitting there. They tell her, move your vehicle. Okay,
that's not true.
But when they say move your vehicle, you move your vehicle. But Charles, they walked up to her using harsh profanity. When they walked up to her window, harsh profanity. And then you mean to tell me that you step to the side and you notice a woman in that car. You know she's unarmed and you shoot that woman in the head twice. I want to say to white women in America, there was a time in this country, white women, you were sacred. You were seen as a sacred vessel. But now in America, we have fallen so low and there's so much hate dividing this nation. If you politically disagree with the current administration, they no longer love you, they hate you, and you being executed in the streets of America is
that
justifiable.
Is so horribly not true.
And then for you to say that Mr. Ruffalo, he didn't bring up all of the deaths of those in Iran, well, guess what? What's happening in Iran ain't none of our damn business. What's happening in Iran is for the Iranian people to determine if they want to remove that government. And if the Iranian people want to remove that government like they did in Yemen and other countries in the Middle East, then let them do that. Trump promised the American people that we would not be the guardian police department of the entire world and that we would stay out of global conflicts that had nothing to do with America. What's happening in Iran has nothing to do with us. They're doing a great job of bringing that nation down. The sanctions have played a significant role in angering the people because of the price of inflation and the cost of everything. We should stay out of that. Now this man is saying this. Tell the Iranian government, well, if you start killing protesters, we're going to respond and we're going to get involved. Mr. Trump, your ICE agents are killing protesters right here in America. So should a foreign government say to those who oppose your administration, Trump, well, if he killed one more protester, we'll send in foreign assistance to American citizens who want to fight your administration. See, that's the hypocrisy of Donald Trump and his administration. And this is the evil part. I'm going to end on this. For Pam Bondi and J.D. Vance to call this woman a domestic terrorist, to refer to her as a domestic terrorist, show just how little respect they have for human life for those who oppose them. Donald Trump praised the military veteran who died January 6th at the protest at the White House. He condemned the federal officers that killed her and shot her. He helped approve a $5 million settlement to her family, and he spoke up for that woman at every chance he was questioned about what happened to her on January 6th. Now they turn right around and demonize this woman and call her a domestic terrorist when, if she was committing a crime in Minneapolis, okay, fine. But the woman on January 6th was committing a crime, and she died in the commission of a crime. But you defend her but call the other woman a terrorist because those two women had different political beliefs. One supporting Trump administration, the other one opposing his administration. So that's justifiable homicide when you disagree with them.
Well, I mean, here's some interesting rejoinders to that long tirade of nonsense. That
Not long as your 7 minutes.
I mean, I don't time
I didn't
you
do 7
because
minutes.
I just have to listen for lies. I can't look at the clock and listen for the lies.
You should watch the clock, know what time it is.
But hold on, right? There is absolutely no doubt that Ashley Babbitt was where she wasn't supposed to be. There is some question as to whether or not she was trying to get through or she was pulling people back. But she was an unarmed person shot by an armed officer while she was most certainly committing a crime and very possibly trying to get access for the protesters towards the hunkered down and hiding elected officials in our nation's capital. And everyone in the Biden administration and the media swooned around the officer that shot her and applauded him. He was awarded. Everyone, there was no one saying it was a bad thing. And all of those people, I mean, you talk about the hypocrisy of the Trump administration, but you're silent on the hypocrisy of the left. All of those people who applauded that officer.
And I said publicly that they were wrong for killing her.
And then there was Legion across every large media platform. He's a big hero and she's dead. And the Trump administration did pay her a bunch of money, which I disagree with. But here, Renee Good is on video also committing crimes. Now, I think
what
calling
crime
her
did she commit?
Well, she was obstructing the ICE.
That's a traffic violation.
No, it's not.
Obstructing,
you're lying.
Obstructing in
Why
the middle of
do
the
you lie
street.
so much?
When you're obstructing, if you're obstructing the path of cars in the street, that's a traffic violation, man. That's a misdemeanor.
And you're right, but that's not the obstruction I was talking about. She was obstructing the actions of federal agents with intentionality, right? She and her wife were there to use their vehicle to try to block and limit the actions of ICE agents in a valid enforcement act against a felon with a deportation order.
You know that was wrong.
No, I don't disagree. The shooting was wrong, but you don't have to lie and say, oh, I'm lying about this. You are rationalizing Ashley Babbitt's killing and then pretending that this wasn't.
I condemned Miss Babbitt's shooting right on this show. And I said they were wrong for killing an American veteran. And I said that the woman died, an American veteran at the White House, and killing her was not justifiable because she had no deadly weapon in her hand.
Trump. That's
so no, I never supported Trump.
That's not true.
What I support is America first.
Okay.
And going into Venezuela is really not America's first.
That's it's absolutely America
that's
first.
Trump's rich friends first.
No.
That's Trump's rich friends first.
Okay.
But the common American
As
citizen
the child
don't benefit.
of a Venezuelan, I will say absolutely that it is absolutely America first.
To
now,
take their oil?
It's better than
to
China.
take their oil?
It's better than China and Russia getting
That's
it.
criminal.
And right now,
that's
let's
criminal.
say they're not taking their oil. See,
who all is it then?
Hold on.
You white folks are amazing.
Okay.
Who all is it then?
I have more insight into Venezuela than you, but you've let me finish. Venezuela nationalized the oil. Chavez and Maduro
took
right to all of the money from the Venezuelan people. So let's hope now.
So give the country back to the Venezuelan
and liberty and democracy.
So give the oil back to the people.
Oh, I'm all for it.
Not Exxon.
Well, it's Chevron, not Exxon.
Well, Exxon don't want to go down.
Okay.
But Chevron and any other American company.
Chevron.
Hey, why get it?
Okay.
And then Trump can't say, well, we're going to take the oil.
And it's better for America if you want to talk about America first.
Capitalism was never designed to help you thrive. It was designed to keep you exhausted. I hate that capitalism creates a hierarchy of worth, where essential workers can't afford essentials, and billionaires treat recessions like opportunities. I hate that profit gets prioritized over people, that speed gets valued over sanity, and that somewhere along the way, someone decided the purpose of life was efficiency. And I hate that this system demands your time, your nervous system, your entire existence just to survive. It's wrong, it's backwards, and it should make you angry. But here's the uncomfortable part. I'm not speaking from the margins. I'm someone who learned how the game works early. I grew up in a family that talks about money. I went to Harvard Business School. I was taught compound interest long before I was taught anything about compromising. I've benefited from capitalism. I started a business. I have access. And yes, I'm saying all of this inside an ad paid for by a business. So trust me, I get the irony. But here's the thing not being said. Avoiding money doesn't make you morally superior. It just makes you unprotected. Rejecting the system doesn't dismantle it. It just leaves more power in the hands of the few who already know how to use it. So the choice isn't love the system or let it consume you. The real choice is learn the rules so you can bend them. Understand the mechanics so you can stop being controlled by them. Step in with awareness, not to win at their expense, but to stop losing at yours. Because when people who care, people with values, community, empathy, creativity, when those people learn how money works, then power shifts. Shame turns into clarity, fear becomes agency, isolation turns into strategy. That's why I started Dow Jones in my living room 7 years ago. Not to help people participate in capital.
It's better for America Venezuela has more oil than Saudi Arabia. It has the biggest oil and gold caches of the world, more gold than Africa.
Oh, so that's why we went in.
Oh, well, certainly. It is. Now,
and that ain't criminal?
But let's hope.
That's not criminal.
Let's hope that America restores the democracy that what used to be.
Like we did in Iraq?
What used